The Ten Commandments. Long ago, in the land of ancient Egypt, God's people, the Israelites, lived as slaves. Day after day, beneath the burning sun, they were forced to work. They hauled heavy stones, built towering cities, and dreamed of freedom. Egypt's Pharaoh was powerful and proud. He cared only about his kingdom, not the suffering of God's people. But God heard every cry. He saw every tear. So God chose a man named Moses, a humble shepherd with a kind heart, to lead his people to freedom. Through amazing miracles, God showed his power. The Nile turned to blood, darkness covered the land, and finally, God opened a path through the sea itself. The waters of the Red Sea rose like towering walls, and the Israelites walked through on dry ground, amazed and overjoyed. When Pharaoh's army followed, the waters crashed back together, and God's people were finally free. With songs of joy and hearts full of hope, the Israelites began their journey through the desert toward the land God had promised them. After 3 long months of travel, the Israelites reached a vast mountain rising high into the sky. This was Mount Sinai. Clouds swirled around its peak, thunder rolled, lightning flashed. God had something very important to say. God called Moses up the mountain and spoke to him. "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt. If you obey me, you will be my treasured people." The mountain trembled with God's presence, and the people were afraid. They stayed far below, watching, waiting. But Moses climbed higher, step by step, ready to listen to God's voice. Fire glowed from the mountain as Moses disappeared into the clouds. There on the misty mountain peak, God spoke. His voice was powerful, yet gentle, strong, yet full of love. God gave Moses 10 commandments, rules to help his people live wisely, love him, and care for one another. First, you shall have no other gods before me. God is the one true creator. He comes first. Second, you shall not make idols. Nothing should take God's place in our hearts. Third, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord. God's name is holy. Speak it with respect. Fourth, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Work hard, but also rest and spend time with God. Fifth, honor your father and mother. Love, respect, and obey your parents. Sixth, you shall not murder. Every life is precious. Seventh, you shall not commit adultery. Be faithful. Keep promises strong. Eighth, you shall not steal. Respect what belongs to others. Ninth, you shall not lie. Always choose truth. 10th, you shall not covet. Be thankful. Don't envy what others have. These commandments were not meant to hurt or control. They were a gift, a loving guide to help God's people live their best lives. God wrote these words on 2 stone tablets and gave them to Moses. But while Moses remained on the mountain for many days, the people grew impatient. "Where is Moses?" they asked. "Did something happen to him?" Fear turned into doubt. They went to Moses' brother Aaron and demanded, "Make us gods to lead us." Even after all God had done, they forgot his miracles. Aaron collected their gold jewelry and melted it down. Out of the fire came a shiny golden calf. The people cheered, they danced, they worshipped it. They had already broken God's commandments. High on the mountain, God saw what was happening. He told Moses, and Moses hurried back down, carrying the stone tablets.
When Moses reached the camp and saw the golden calf, his heart broke. In sorrow and anger, he threw the tablets to the ground, and they shattered. The people had chosen wrongly. But Moses loved the people. He returned to the mountain and prayed with all his heart. He asked God to forgive them, and God did, because God is slow to anger and rich in mercy. God told Moses to carve new stone tablets. Once again, God wrote the 10 Commandments upon them. When Moses came down the mountain this time, something amazing happened. His face shone, glowing with God's glory. The people saw the light and knew God had forgiven them. They promised to obey God's commandments and follow Him faithfully. From that day on, the 10 Commandments became the heart of God's covenant with His people, rules built on love, faith, and trust. The Israelites continued their journey, carrying the commandments with them. And even today, those same rules still guide us. They remind us to love God with all our hearts and to love others as ourselves. Because God doesn't want what's hardest for us. He wants what's best. The 10 Commandments, God's rules of love.